Week 23 of the fantasy baseball season, already the final four for most fantasy leagues and formats this week. But here's a few pitches that can hopefully help your pitching staff and get you to the championship this week. The first guy, Jose Quintana, the St. Louis Cardinals. So Quintana, it's been a pretty decent season here for him. Obviously starting the season with the Pittsburgh Pirates, then traded to the Cardinals at the Major League trade deadline. So on the season here for Quintana, 142 and 2/3 of an inning. 5-6 record, 142 hit, earned runs, 44 walks, 118 strikeouts, and 7 quality starts. So this Cardinal team, they've gotten hot over the last couple months here. And Quintana's been a big addition to this team, even though he don't go deep into ball games. He's still going to give you solid innings. He's still going to pitch good baseball. The ERA on the season, 3.29. I know he's only going 5 innings, like I said here, but he's still going out there, giving his team a chance to win ball games, and that's what you want from a pitcher in fantasy baseball and obviously in real life baseball, and that's what he's doing since he got to St. Louis. So right now, he did get added in 14% of fantasy leagues this week here, but still available surprisingly in 53% of leagues is Quintana. It's September 6th versus the Nats, 5 innings, got the win, 5 hits, a run, 5 Ks in that one. September 11th at the Pirates, 5 2/3 in that ball game. No decision versus former team. 4 hits, a run, a walk, 4 Ks. So right here, if you want a guy who's give you some decent innings, get you some wins, not going to get you quality starts or a high strikeout rate, but everything else, he'll pretty much help your fantasy team. I think Quintana is a decent add this week. The next guy, Domingo Germán of the New York Yankees. So Germán, he's been on this list a few times over the last few weeks here, and right now still available in 58% of fantasy leagues here. He's Germán on the season, 56 innings, 2-3 record, 51 hits, 20 runs, 12 walks, 39 strikeouts, and 5 quality starts. I know yesterday in his latest outing here, he only opened as a starter and won 1 inning as an opener. In that one was Germán on short rest. And the Yankees won that ball game anyway, 10-4, so they didn't need him to go that deep. So right here, the last couple games here for him, September 2nd in Tampa, 6 2/3, got the loss. 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, a K, and a quality start. September 7th versus the Twins, 6 innings, no decision. 7 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 6 Ks, a quality start. And then, like I mentioned, the 1 inning yesterday on short rest here, just to give him that opener, a walk and a K. So right here, Germán, his next outing is probably going to be at the Milwaukee Brewers, middle of the pack type of hitting team. But like I said, this Yankee team's been great all season, record-wise, even though we know they've been slumping of late here, but still Germán's gone out there and pitched competitive ball and been a fantasy asset, in my opinion. Even with the slump here for the Yankees, they're still in first place. They're starting to get a pile of games together here and win, and Germán's been a good part of that. So right here, I would give him an ad this week. The next guy, Reed Nelson of the Arizona Diamondbacks. So right here, one of their top pitching prospects is Reed Nelson, and he came up last week and he had 7 scoreless innings in his major league debut here. And that one, 7 innings, 4 hits, 7 Ks, a quality start. So with a 0 ERA and an 0.57 whip to start the season here for Nelson, good start so far. But obviously, one game it was no tape on him really for opposing teams to see here. And we know Arizona's a bad team that's not going to get their pitchers a lot of run support, but he definitely has upside. He definitely has some good stuff, is Nelson here. And he's a guy, I know he's got a tough matchup here tonight versus the Los Angeles Dodgers, but I still would take a shot at him. You never know. He could go out there and pitch a gem for all we know. Like I said, he's an unknown. He's one of the top prospects in the Diamondback system for a reason. And this time of year is where these teams out of it give these younger guys a chance here. And Nelson's definitely getting an opportunity. So I know it's a tough matchup versus the Dodgers, but if you don't have better options or you want to roll the dice here with Nelson, I think he's a decent ad this week. And he's available in 96% of fantasy leagues. The next guy, Jose Suarez of the Los Angeles Angels. Suarez, they found something with him, I believe, this season over there in Los Angeles. I know he got off to a slow start early in the year, but now he's getting it going this year. 86 innings, 6-6 record, 77 hits, 36 runs, 31 walks, 84 strikeouts, 3 quality starts, a 3.77 ERA and a 1.26 whip. But over the last few weeks here, one of the better pitchers in fantasy baseball. 13 innings, 2-0 record, 2 runs, 4 walks, 13 Ks, 2 quality starts, 1.38 ERA and an 0.77 whip. So Suarez right now, he's available in tons of fantasy leagues at 76% here. And right here, he's a reliever and a starter he qualifies at. And he's got a decent matchup at the Guardians here September 13th. Even I know the Guardians first place, their hitting still isn't all that great, in my opinion here. And I think Suarez could go out there and put a good ball game together versus them. So the last two outings here for him, August 29th versus the Yankees, 6 innings, got the win. 3 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 6 Ks, a quality start. And September 5th versus the Tigers, 7 innings in that one, got the win. 3 hits, no runs, a walk, 7 Ks, a quality start. So right here, 2 good outings in a row. Last couple weeks, like I mentioned, one of the better pitchers in fantasy baseball here. And this week with a decent matchup at Cleveland, I think he could go out there and definitely get the job done and have another gem. And right now, available in tons of leagues, like I said, in 76% of leagues. I would give him an ad this week. The next guy is John Schreiber of the Boston Red Sox. He was on the ad list last week, and a lot of people did go out there and add him. But like I mentioned, if you need a second or third close on your fantasy roster here, if you're looking to get saves this late in the season, or just a guy that's going to keep your ERA down going reliever, Schreiber is definitely the guy. And right now, he's available in 56% of leagues on the season, 56 in the third, 3-3 record, 8 saves, 37 hits, 13 runs, 13 walks, 65 strikeouts, 2 blown saves, a 2.08 ERA, and an 0.89 whip. But over the last couple weeks here for Schreiber, 5 innings, 3 saves, 3 hits, a walk, 6 Ks in the time with a no ERA and a 1 whip. So right now, if you want some relief help this late in the season, I know the Red Sox, they're not going to win a lot of games and get him a lot of opportunities, but he's still a guy that's going out there and getting 3 or 4 saves every 2 weeks here, Schreiber. So right now, if you want to keep the ERA down and get you some quality saves at the back end here, I think I would give Schreiber an ad this week. The next guy is Pete Fairbanks of the Tampa Bay Rays. So Fairbanks, another closer here for this Tampa Bay Ray team. And right here, he's been pretty solid since he's taken over the role on the season. For Fairbanks, 18 2/3. I know a small sample size. 6 saves, 11 hits, 3 runs, 2 walks, 28 strikeouts, a 1.45 ERA, and an 0.70 whip. But the last couple weeks here, he's pretty much been unhittable, Fairbanks. 5 innings, 2 saves, a hit, a walk, 9 Ks, no ERA, and an 0.40 whip. So if I had to pick between Fairbanks and Schreiber, if I had to pick one closer off this ad list this week here, I would go with Fairbanks. Obviously on a better team in the Tampa Bay Rays, going to get more save opportunities. And like I said, he's been pretty much lights out over the last few weeks here. And a guy who's closing games out and helping this Ray team and helping fantasy owners. And right now available still in 58% of fantasy leagues. I would give him an ad this week. The next guy is Bailey Falter of the Philadelphia Phillies. So the Phillies here, they found something with Falter. We saw him on the Washington Nationals a few years ago, and now next guy's Bailey Falter, like Philadelphia Phillies. So Falter here, he's coming out of nowhere over the last few weeks. Even though he was a long guy or a guy who was a spot starter early in the season for this Philly team. And he was getting hit hard earlier, but over the last month or two, he's really kicked it into gear and he's pitching good on the season. 62 2/3, 4-3 record, 62 hits, 28 runs, 13 walks, 55 Ks, 4 quality starts. 4.02 ERA and a 1.20 whip. But the last couple weeks here for Falter, like I said, he's been pitching real good. 11 2/3, 2-0 record, 12 hits, 3 runs, 9 Ks, a quality start with a 2.31 ERA and a 1.03 whip. So right here, Falter, he's had some good matchups of late. Obviously at Arizona, August 31st, 6 1/3, got the win, 5 hits, a run, 6 Ks, a quality start. And September 7th versus the Marlins, 5 1/3 in that one, got the win, 7 hits, 2 runs, 3 Ks. So his next outing be versus the Miami Marlins this week here is Falter. And we know the Marlins, one of the worst teams hitting the baseball in all the major leagues this season here. So Falter right now, he's a guy that qualifies at starter and reliever. Obviously a starter right now for Philly, and a guy who's going to give you some innings, going to keep runs off the board here is Falter, and he's going to keep the ball in the ballpark. So right now available in 79% of fantasy leagues, and if you need a guy at the back end of your rotation in your league here, I definitely would give Falter an ad because he can help with the ERA. His strikeouts are pretty decent, and he's going at least 5 or 6 innings, which obviously isn't great, but that's just the name of the game nowadays. These 4th or 5th starters in starting rotations don't go deep into ball games, and that's exactly what Falter's been doing, but at least he's getting the job done, and he can help fantasy owners in a variety of ways. The next pitcher is Dean Kremer of the Baltimore Orioles. So Kremer, another guy coming out of nowhere this season here after he got a cup of coffee last year in the major leagues. On the season, 94 and 2/3, 6-5 record, 95 hits, 34 runs, 21 walks, 71 strikeouts, 6 quality starts, a 3.23 ERA, 1.23 whip. But over the last couple weeks here, he's pitched even a little bit better here as Kremer. 11 in the third, 0-1 record, 11 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, 9 Ks, a quality start, a 3.18 ERA, and a 1.24 whip. So Kremer, we know he's in a tough division in the American League East here, but for the most part, besides his last outing, he's held his own versus these tougher hitting teams. August 27th at Houston, 7 2/3 got the win. 4 hits, a run, 3 Ks, a quality start. September 2nd versus Oakland, 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, no decision, a walk, 6 Ks, a quality start. And then September 7th, 5 1/3 versus the Jays, got the loss, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. So right here, his next outing, September 14th at the Nats here. And that's a good matchup. Nats, one of the worst teams in the league here, and a team that definitely struggles and can't hit the baseball. So right now we know Baltimore needs to win any type of way they can to try to sneak into that third wild card here. And right now Kremer's available in tons of leagues at 76% of leagues. And I definitely would give him an ad this week, especially with a good matchup versus the Nats coming up. The next guy is Jon Gray of the Texas Rangers. So Gray, he's been on the shelf for a while here with the oblique injury, but he's going to come back from the injury list, and he's going to start the second game of the doubleheader here today versus the Miami Marlins is Gray. So the last season here for Gray, 103 in the third, 7-6 record, 87 hits, 44 runs, 34 walks, 116 strikeouts, 7 quality starts, a 3.83 ERA, and a 1.17 whip. So Gray, we know he's a guy with good upside. We know he could strike out a lot of batters, and he's a guy that could go 6 or 7 innings on any given night and give you 8 or 9 Ks with 1 or 2 run ball, and he definitely could do that at Miami, even though I think they're going to have him on a pitch count, probably 70 or 80 pitches, especially coming off an oblique, and especially Texas not in the running. But Gray, I still think, can help fantasy owners, and he's a possible double starter as well this week here. Available in 56% of leagues. So the last few outings here for him before he went out. July 21st at Miami, 6 innings, got the win, 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, a quality start. July 27th at the Mariners, 6 1/3. Got the loss, 5 hits, 4 runs, 4 walks, 8 Ks. And August 1st versus Baltimore, 1 1/3. Got the loss in that one, 4 hits, 3 runs, a walk, 3 Ks, and left obviously with the oblique. So right now, if you need some starting pitching help, you need a guy that's going to come in there and possibly give you a good start and help your strikeout rate here. That's what Jon Gray will do for you this week. And the final pitcher I look to add this week here is Hunter Brown of the Houston Astros. So Brown, a big pickup last week here, added in 17% of leagues, but still out there in 64% of fantasy leagues. So in his major league debut, he had a good outing as Hunter Brown, even though it was versus a weak Texas Ranger team, though. 6 innings, got the win. 3 hits, no runs, a walk, 5 Ks, a quality start. And his next outings tomorrow at the Detroit Tigers, are one of the worst hitting teams in the league. So Brown, obviously on the national team, best team in the American League, going to get run support. And this guy's got electric stuff. Like I said, a lot of swing and miss stuff he has, even though his first outing, 5 Ks, not horrible, but not that big number. But here at Detroit, if he could stay in the ball game long and just keep his pitches controlled and stuff, I think he could go for 7 or 8 strikeouts in this one here. He's on a great team, like I said, and he's a guy I would roll the dice with, especially this late in the season. If you could find a diamond in the rough to catapult you to the championship game next week and you win the whole thing, this is how you win fantasy leagues, with a lot of waiver wire and pickups as the season goes on and towards the end here, obviously. So that's a few pitchers I look to add here for a crucial week 23 of the fantasy baseball season.